Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this event this evening. I am your host, Val Marguerite. Tonight, we are going to talk about the power of self discipline. Enjoy.
Okay. Setting goals is easy. Achieving them is hard. Why? So everybody has goals. Everybody talk about goals. Everybody have, ideas. But an idea doesn't really mean much unless you also have a system, unless you also have a strategy that supports it. And to have a strategy that will allow you to achieve your goals, that means that you have the self-discipline day in and day out to follow through with that strategy. If you don't have a strategy that perhaps includes habits and attitudes and beliefs, right, and distractions, removing distractions, which we will discuss all about that, then that goal is not going to matter. But because before too late, you are going to give up. You are going to be overwhelmed and you are not going to follow through. So that's not going to happen anymore, okay, after tonight, because we are going to learn how to set SMART and OKR goals, which stands for objective key results, that I'm going to teach you tonight. How are we going to structure these goals, right? And what steps do we need to take to achieve the goals? And what kind of discipline do you need to implement so you can develop that consistency? Okay, so who is surprised about this? Okay, most common New Year's resolution. Look at this. Any surprises here? Probably not. Okay, and this, by the way, comes from a reliable source, statista.com, where you can go and pull out any data you are interested in that you want to learn about. So most people do this. These are the New Year's resolution. And look how many people actually achieve their New Year's resolution. 8%. I mean, think about it. And this happens year after year. So you would think that if your New Year's resolutions are not achieved, you would do something about it. People would do something about that, right? Something needs to change. You cannot accomplish a goal with the same old methods if they didn't work in the first place. So you need to go back to reassess, readjust, implement, try again and again if you are really committed to your goals, which is another issue that we are going to discuss. If goals are not meaningful to you, you are going to not follow through, easily going to give up. So keep this in mind, because we are going to come back to this, right? Since we only have about 40 days out of this year, most likely you are thinking about goals for the next year. Or perhaps you are thinking big and you are thinking about life's goals. How do you want to live your life going forward? You are perhaps visualizing your best future self. What does it look like, right? If you close your eyes right now for a second, what do you visualize yourself as? What is the best version of your best self? You see, that's where we go. Okay, that is the plan that we're going to work with. So certainly resolutions never work. I never have resolutions because they don't work. What I have goals. And I'm very meticulous about goals because I know what I need to do to make them work. And that's why I teach them. I taught them for over a decade now. And tonight I'm here with you because I want you to achieve every goal you set up for yourself. Short-term goals and long-term goals. So here's a question. What is the hardest thing to discipline in your life right now? This is to kind of give you an idea to type it in the chat room so we can have a conversation together at the end of the talk. Because I want this to be experiential, right? I want this to be a conversation, a roundtable conversation where we can share and learn from one another. Because, you know, life is all about challenges, right? Ups and downs. And when we are down, we learn the best. That's when we build resilience and discipline. So please post that in the chat, and we'll have a talk about it after the talk. We'll discuss. All right. So the power of self-discipline, your best future self, begins right now. Now, are you ready? Are you ready? I'm looking at you. Okay. All right. Don't be afraid. The best is yet to come. All right. So, do you see my slide clearly? Yeah. Very good. So, what do we have here? When you are committed to becoming self-disciplined and accountable to yourself and your actions and showing up for yourself every day, then some of these things are going to happen, right? You're going to have a vision. What is the vision? What do you see yourself looking and feeling and doing? You are going to have a mission. What's your life's mission? What is your why? Why are you here? What are you doing? How are you serving yourself and others? And you're going to have goals that support your mission and vision. And when you do that, some of these things are happening. And that is the power of self-discipline. You are going to be in control of your life, of your choices, of your thoughts, of your decisions, of your relationships, everything. So these are some of the things that I thought I would put it here for you to see. You are going to be enabled to choose and persevere with your thoughts, behaviors, beliefs, and actions, right? So when your goals are clear, because your goals are going to be supported by your vision and mission, then you are going to be in control of your thoughts, your beliefs, and the actions you are going to take. So nobody's going to tell you, oh, Janice, for example, right? Or John, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you don't need anybody to tell you what to do. Only you know what you need to do for yourself. Nobody knows you better than yourself. And that is if you took the time out to really figure out who you are. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And that's tough work, right? Freedom to create the life you want. Well, you are going to create the life you want because your life now, it's all about the goals you are going to set and plan for yourselves. The goals that are supported by your vision and mission. You show up at your best every day. You overcome your fears by taking actions. So for example, let's say you have a fear of speaking in public, which is #1 fear in the world. Did you know that? That's right. It's not fear of dying. It's fear of speaking in public. Pretty much what I'm doing right now. And guess what? How do we get better at it? We don't get better by reading books about public speaking. Yes, you may read one book so that you understand some of the techniques and strategies and words that you should be using. But how you get better is by building self-discipline, having a consistent practice, and putting the work in. There is no shortcut. Like I posted, a little while ago, I sent a message on Facebook, I think. I said, overnight success takes at least a decade. Right? Exactly. So when people see you like, wow, sometimes people tell me, Val, you are so comfortable when you speak in public. Do you want to hear my story? Right? Because if you want to hear my story of overcoming challenges, because everyone has this challenge. Everyone has a fear of public speaking because we have a fear of rejection. We have a fear of judgment. But that is until you figure out who you are so you can own yourself in the world. If people want to talk about you, if people want to judge you, they are simply judging themselves, right? They were judged and now they're judging other people. And you should not be concerned with that. They need to do their own learning. They need to come up with their own awareness and expand their own consciousness. You should just stay focused on your goals. And you experience life in different ways because you are going to take chances in life. You are not going to live your life like the, Groundhog Day, right? Every day the same thing. No, every day is going to be a new day because you're going to take challenges, right? You're going to take challenges and you're going to show up in the world and you do the best you can because the only person you are competing with or comparing with is who? Yourself.
Yourself.
That's right, John. Yourself. There is no one else to compare with. And when you do that, then you just need to be better than yesterday, a little bit, so you can make progress towards your goals. And the last one that I put here is intentional about why. Why are you doing the things you're doing every day? Why? What is your why? Why are you having the friends you do? How are they supporting your mission? For example, right? If you try to, live a better life or a healthier life, why then you eat junk food, for instance? Right? I know it's tempting for all of us, but once in a while, because you are self-disciplined, right? You become self-disciplined and you are not going to put food or anything that is not useful to your brain, to your mind, to your body. And the same thing goes for people. You're not going to have people in your life who, instead of supporting your big ideas, they're telling you, oh, come on, you can't do that. Are you kidding me? That should be a red flag, right? When you hear that, it means that those people should not be in your circle. Because as you know, we are very much influenced by our environment. And that is the food, and that is how your house looks like, and that is your friends, your thoughts, the TV shows you watch, everything that you expose yourselves to have control of your thoughts, unless you become self-disciplined to manage that and control it. So you are the gatekeeper, right? Like when you, for example, when you go on Instagram, let's just say, you go there, okay, let me go there for a minute. And next thing you know, what I do? I wasted 20 minutes, right? But when you become self-disciplined and intentional and aware about who you are and what you want out of life, let me tell you, you are going to be very observable. You're going to say, okay, Val, like I do it. I talk to myself. Yeah, because, Val is my best friend, right? Nobody knows Val than Val. So I said, Val, that's it, get out. Or, I try to really, in my meditation practice, I am really, walking, right, myself through the day and to understand what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Do I make progress as a human being, as a coach, for example? Do I have the best ideas or strategies to offer to people like yourselves so that I can really use my time intentionally? So your future self, yeah? All right, moving on. My superpower, and this is my journey that continues. So these are some of the things here that I have been able to accomplish because I worked every day on being disciplined. And it wasn't always like this, right? Because we are human beings. And we know that it's a lot easier to have habits that are inconsistent and do what you want. But when you discipline your mind and you understand the principles, right, the strategies behind how goal achievement works, using neuroscience to really understand what we respond to, then let me tell you, my friends, nothing will stop you. Okay, so these are some of the things that I was able to do with my self-discipline routine. In 2001, I have it in my journal. I said, I aim for a better life. 2001. So it's about how many years now? 21, 22? 22 years. That's a consistent practice, okay? That's not to say that I didn't have, days when, let's say, I didn't feel like doing, let's say, workout or, I slept in a little bit, but always getting back to the routine. And when that happens, just be kind to yourself. That's okay, right? We are human beings. We make mistakes. That's fine, but keep on going, right? Keep the routine going. Be consistent. Consistency is key. So these are some of the things that I accomplished. Quit smoking. When I arrived in the United States, I used to smoke. I quit cold turkey. I remember in the middle of the night when I wanted to have a smoke, I would drive to Walgreens to buy chocolate. I was like, okay, chocolate or cigarettes? I mean, come on, that's a no-brainer, right? And you know what I had to do? Work out twice a day to keep my health and my weight. Because personally, and I hope you are also going to discipline yourself to think that it's not about weight, right? It's about feeling good. It's about being healthy. It's about being well. It's about being able to participate in life 100% and do things and experience, people and activities. That's what I'm all about. I want to be strong and healthy. Weight, of course, weight will take care of itself. I don't need to worry about that, right? And this goes back to that resolution. That's why I never have a resolution about weight. What is that supposed to mean? My resolution is to be the best Val. And my job is to figure out how. And the how is the goals and the strategies behind it. And that begins with making a commitment that I am going to be disciplined going forward, and you put a plan in place. I wake up early, 5 o'clock now, 5:30. I cannot wait to get up. I'm so excited about the day ahead. Went to college and achieved not 1, 2, 3, 5. But that's not important, the 5. It's how I achieve them in half the time. And you can go down the list. I don't need to do that. Although, let me make this point, rewired my brain. You perhaps have heard this concept, this terminology, but if you haven't, what this means is understanding neuroplasticity, which is the ability of the brain to be flexible, right? And adjust based on the activities you are doing. So for me, you can think of it as an analogy. You can think of it as a computer, right? Are you with me? Yes. You can think of it as a computer. So the most powerful computer you have is the one that sits between your ears, right? Only if it's up to date and it has the best software, right? And hardware to run properly. Because if you have not updated your system and it runs on the old system, and in our case, meaning like, old beliefs, right? Negative habits, old beliefs that perhaps are no longer useful to your purpose. That's the old system. You need to update that with a new one. New habits, new attitudes, new goals, right? And then you practice that routine, right? You become so disciplined and consistent that your computer is going to work so quickly. If you need an idea, just like on Google, if you need an idea, immediately comes to the surface as the idea you want. You don't need to look through the weeds, right? To all the viruses, if you will, all the clutter in your brain. Does it make sense, that analogy? Good, thank you. I started my business, traveled to over 40 countries. I didn't have time to count, but I think it's more than 40 countries. And I paid off my debt because, when I came to the United States, I was told open credit cards. Go to the stores, open cards. And I did it, And then before I know it, I was in debt, and I was thinking like, well, if you have debt, you are not free. Self-discipline means freedom. So I managed to pay off the debt because I want to be free so I can enjoy my life. If I have to worry about paying bills that I cannot do and I have to work, and if you work every day for so many hours, then you're not going to have time left or energy to enjoy yourself or your family or your friends, to have a life. And I managed to do that, enjoy myself and do what I want. And hopefully I can help you do that if you are in that sort of situation. So your best future self plan, my friends, we have to begin with values. At the end of the day, we are our values. If you want to understand people, all you have to do is watch them. Watch what they say, what they do, where they spend their money, on what they spend their money, what TVs, what movies they watch. That tells you where their values are, right? Make sense? So if you take the time to really understand your own values, that's the first step. In my coaching practice, this is the first thing we do. Because if people come to me and they say, I want to transform my life. I want to live a life of meaning. I'm tired of being, stressed out and anxious and never having the time to pursue my own goals. So something is not working. That's where we go. Because if you are overburdened, if you're stressed, if you're anxious, most likely it is because your goals, whatever you're doing, are not aligned with who you really are and what really matters to you. So that's where we begin. For our purpose tonight, these are sort of, give or take, the 10 universal values, if you will. So when you look at the list, do you see yourself here? Yeah? So you can write down your values, or you can do this exercise with me, or if you need help, whatever it is, that's the first one. By the way, I have this on my website. I have an article about the Wheel of Life, which we'll discuss in the next slide. And also in my book, Why Not You? How to Become an Empowered Person or a woman or a man, right? I also have an exercise there about the Wheel of Life. I am a firm believer that, you cannot have a life of excellence and meaning unless your goals are aligned with your values. So these are some of the values, universal values. Let's move on now. And here, my friends, is the secret. This is the magic right here. Do you see this Wheel of Life assessment? Okay, so on one side, what do we have? That's the wheel with all the values around. Yes, spirituality, money.
Mhm.
So when we do the value exercise, you come up with your own values, and then you are going to have your own values on the wheel, your wheel of life, right? That's the first step. So far, so good? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Next, you are going to give a number. How satisfied are you in each area of your life, right? From 1 to 10. So this takes a little time. You need to be very objective, right? Because after all, it's your life. You're not impressing anybody. You want to live the best life possible for yourself. So you have a responsibility, right? To take the time to really understand what are your dreams, your aspirations, your fears, your strengths, your weaknesses, everything. And then you give a number and you find out how your wheel, is it balanced? To be a balanced wheel, you pretty much have to have what? About 9, 10, and perhaps 8, right? But if you have this, unbalanced is this wheel. I mean, the highest number we have here is 8, and that is for community, right? So this person, for instance, is very much connected to the community, but nothing else. So I already know that this person is in dire need of help. This person is unhappy, stressed out, unhealthy, no relationships. I mean, look at the wheel, right? So this person needs help, like yesterday help. So I hope people in this situation with this kind of wheel, they go and get help before it's too late. So this is the second step, right? So the first step, values, we look at the values to figure out who you really are. And then we're going to put these values on the wheel. And then we give a number. And based on that, guess what's going to happen next? Based on that, together, we are going to come up with at least one goal for each area that is unbalanced. This is amazing. It's incredible. It's so powerful. Okay, so here we go. So now we are going to plan our SMART goals for an OKR, and OKR stands for Objective Key Results. And by the way, this is what Google uses. And that's why it's so powerful. And I want you to be aware of the terminology, okay? They are used in organizations around the world and also personal, right? People, personal people, private people. SMART goals is widely known. I don't know if you are aware, but I use both for the past 20 years. Let me tell you, my friends, it never fails. It never fails. So here we have the SMART goals. What SMART stands for, you have the acronyms, and I also, to help you out, right, I have given you some options for each one. So specific stands for S stands for specific. If your goal is not specific, nothing is going to happen, right? So I have some questions there for you to get you going. What is the goal? What are the details of the goal? Why do you want this goal? And who is involved, right? Some questions. The next one is the goal must be measurable. What we measure, we achieve. Have you heard that? Okay, so if you don't measure your goal, it's not going to be achieved because you need to know what kind of progress you're making, right? And also you need to know what kind of adjustment you need to make. What works, what doesn't. So that, what works, you need to do more of. What doesn't work, take it out, right? A stands for attainable. Is the goal attainable? And here you have to think big and be courageous and bold. Even if it's not attainable, let's just say, give it a try, right? Now, of course, we need to be realistic because, for instance, you can't say, I'm going to run a marathon in a week. I wish, right? But you need to get ready for that. You need to train. You need to, and you train the body, but, before the body, you got to actually believe it here. You need to train your mind. You need to trick yourself into believing, yeah, I can start, with walking around the block and then running around the block and then add another block and another block, right? And next thing you know, you are self-disciplined and consistent in your practice and you just set your goals, whether it's a 5K, 10K, whatever you want. And speaking of that, by the way, as we speak, we have a program, right, Faith? Faith is in that program and a few other students, Marcel, for example.
I'm doing it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll have a chance at the end when I'm done with the talk to discuss to elaborate on that. But right now, as we speak, we have a wellness 5K program that we are doing, and I'm doing it with the participants. It's just awesome. And a new official course begins in January. I believe it's 8 or 9 January. And that is, I believe, you can check it out on my website, 8 weeks wellness 5K program that I really recommend that you sign up because it's that goal, the resolution goal, except for you, you are going to actually achieve the goal with me as opposed to the resolution, which you cannot, or most people cannot. R is the relevant. Why is this goal important? Right? So for example, if your goal is, let's say, usually people say, I want to lose weight. Remember that, the resolution wheel? I want to lose weight. How about you reframe that? Because when you say, I want to lose weight, there is something negative there, right? Make people, feel not too good about it. How about you reframe your thinking? And instead of saying, I want to lose weight, when I want to lose 5 pounds, right? You say, I want to feel strong, right? I want to feel strong. I want to be fit. I want to be confident. Do that, because then the question is, how are you going? What are you going to do? How, what are you going to do to feel that way, right? And that's part of your plan, your best future self. So you're not going to say, I want to lose 10 pounds. Because you're like, oh my God, I really want a dessert, but I can't have it. I really want a glass of wine, but I can't have it. No, that's why people give up. That's why resolutions don't work. Because you need to have a strategy in place to understand. You can have the cake, you can have whatever you want, but you have to be disciplined, not every day. Or if you have, when you have that, like for example, myself, when I have a piece of cake, I am really, really enjoying it. I know, I'm so intentional because I know it's so good for me. And that's self-care. That's called self-respect. I give my body what it wants, it's asking for. So I'm enjoying it. And guess what I do tomorrow? Tomorrow I go work
Exercise.
out. Exactly. Tomorrow I work out, but not the same workout. I am going to count for that piece of cake. Because if I want to keep my weight, right? I pretty much have the same weight my whole life, by the way. So since I want to keep my weight, because when you go up and down, that's not good for your health. And we're not going to go into that. That's a different talk. And I can discuss the benefits of it because, I'm really passionate about this stuff, really. Can't you tell? Okay. So, I want to be healthy because if I want to live a long life, I want to have a healthy, long life, right? Then, otherwise what's the purpose? And the last one, time-based. You need to have a timeline. My timeline for my goal about wellness and health is a lifetime goal. It's part of my philosophy. It's part of who I am. I cannot imagine my life without prioritizing my health. My health is my business. It's not the healthcare's business. Yeah, they want my business, but they will never have it unless, something happens, you never know in life. But to the extent that I can control, I'm taking care of my health because it's my business. And besides, especially in the United States, perhaps in other countries, we don't have preventive care, right? We have health care. So essentially for the business to stay in business, for the hospitals and pharmacies and so forth to stay in business, they need what? Sick people, unwell people. Well, call it what you want. That's capitalism. Again, that's another talk. But I want you to take care of yourself beginning today so you don't become another statistic for the hospital or pharmacy or whatever. Okay? So this is what we're going to work with. You identify your goals on your wheel, and now we are going to implement research, science-based strategies that work. SMART goals and OKR. So far, so good. Is everyone with me?
So far. Mhm.
Are you feeling good about this or what? Good.
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. All right, moving on. So we need a daily routine. How are we going to support our goal? What do we need to do? How do we become self-disciplined? Now, let me tell you, if you identify your goals and they are aligned with your values, they are meaningful to you, right? So most likely you are going to follow through. You are going to achieve these goals. That's why most people don't achieve their goals, because the goals are, planned by somebody else. They are not their goals. They are somebody else's goals. They don't make their dreams come true, somebody else's dreams, okay? Because they gave their power away to other people and other organizations to decide for themselves. When you choose to take that power back, okay, and you take the time to figure out who you are, and you look at that wheel, and you see where you stand, then you come up with the goals you need so you can balance your wheel. And to do that, we need practices, we need habits, we need rituals, we need discipline. So, daily routine and practice. Let me tell you, the good news is that self-discipline is a learned behavior. It's a skill, like any skill. Writing, driving, any skill that takes time and practice, the same thing with self-discipline. Now, I can't think of a reason why you shouldn't really commit to becoming disciplined when every goal you are going to set going forward is aligned with who you are, right? It's nobody else's business, it's your business. Make sense? Okay, so this here I thought it's powerful, right? You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily, which is your daily routine. I usually tell people, okay, go ahead and record what you do on a day, from the time you wake up until you go to bed, and give it to me. They're a little embarrassed to show me, because as you probably know, unless you have a look, unless you decide, right, to become intentional about how you spend your time, which is how you spend your life, then nothing will really change, right? So the daily routine, it's your practice. When do you get up in the morning? What do you do the first thing in the morning? Do you go on Instagram? That's it. Your day is over. You can't do that unless you have a business and you need to be there at a certain time, right? Do you go on your phone first thing in the morning? It doesn't work because it takes you in different places. But once again, unless it's about your business. And if it's about a business, unless it's an emergency, you can schedule your day to have a routine in the morning. For example, I wake up 5 o'clock. I no longer obviously need the alarm unless I'm on a different time zone. And when you work with a lot of time zones, you really need an alarm. Okay. So I get up, I have my coffee, I meditate. That's the first thing I do. I meditate so that I really understand where I stand. How do I feel? I get in touch with myself. And sometimes I have all these thoughts, of course, but I let them go. I look at them, right, internally, I say, good morning, bye. I have other plans for today. I'm not going to pay attention to you. And this is what you do in a non-judgmental way. Because at the beginning, it's going to be difficult, as you will see, unless you are a meditator, unless you have meditated for a long time, because meditation is simply training your mind to do what you want, your brain. And when you do that, that's when you have control. Otherwise, you have events, people, Instagram, all of these things, external, right, are controlling your life. After meditation, I exercise. I cannot imagine a day without exercising, right? And then I read. You need to read. You need to expand your world. You need to be motivated and inspired by different ideas, by people in the world that have done, accomplished, failed at, or whatever. You need to fuel your mind just like you fuel your body. And it has to be nutritional, just like the food has nutrition. If the food, right, is not nutrition and delicious, like I call it, then why have it? There's no purpose, unless it's once in a while. But that has a purpose. It's good for the soul. It means you self-love yourself. You have self-respect for yourself, right? Because you are not denying what the body wants. You are responsible and accountable. You take care of it. So that's my routine every morning. That's my routine. I come back right from exercise. I read. I have shower. I get ready for the day. My plan for the day is already done the night before, because in the morning you don't want to spend your best energy thinking about, oh, let me see what I'm going to do today. And the next thing you know, you are like already tired. So you need to do that the night before. Remove distractions. This is an important point of your daily routine, your consistency, the road to becoming disciplined. Remove distractions. You should not have any distractions in your environment. And the same goes for your brain. Whatever you have going on there should be supportive to your progress, should help you make progress. Obviously, progress is about going forward, right? So you remove everything. And that includes people. Yeah, it may sound a little, I don't know, harsh for some people if you are not familiar with this elevated thinking. But let's be honest. Often we have people in our lives who, even though they may want the best for us, they don't know any better. So if we know better for us, then, and they don't want to support us, we invite them to join us on the journey. But if they keep us back, right? If there is an obstacle, if there are obstacles for us, then you need to make some decisions. Prioritize your goals. My system is MIT-ROT, right? MIT stands for most important things for the day. Because there are so many things, and we know we cannot multitask. You think you can, but you cannot, right? And you can look at the science for that if you are skeptical. So then you need to be very clear on your goals for the day. Most important things. What do you want to accomplish today? Okay? And that's what you do, nothing else. So when you remove your distractions and you are ready to tackle MIT, you get it done. Because you're not going to let anything and anyone take you away from your goal. Make sense?
Mhm.
Of course, it becomes easier with discipline. All right. So, but we have to start somewhere. And ROT stands for what? Result on your time. You need to have results. At the end of the day, if you don't have results, if you can show me the money, right? Show the results, then you haven't really done anything that day. You wasted a day. You cannot get it back. Sorry. So you see, that teaches you, right, to become disciplined and intentional about what it is you want. How do you want to live your life? And the way you live your life is what you do on a daily basis, right? Perfect. Consistency. My friends, consistency, that's the secret of the game. When you understand how the self-discipline works and putting a consistency plan and then following through with your best habits, right? Working on your habits, working on your belief system. Even if you don't think you can do something, go get help. Go get coaching. You know, this is what I learned. A lot of people, they need help, like immediate help, but they won't invest in themselves. They will invest in, like, you know, I don't know, the latest phone or I don't know, you name it, right? Or food, but they will not invest in themselves, in their self-growth. And I think that's a mindset that we need to overcome. When you overcome that and you look at it as an investment in yourself, you will have the benefits for as long as you live. Whereas if you buy a bag, guess what? You're going to buy another one when the next model shows up, right? So we need to really prioritize and understand our goals here and our desires. Needs and wants. Needs are very few. Wants, they never ends. It never ends, right? Okay. So what do you see here? Do you recognize these people? Probably you recognize all of them or most of them. Go ahead and write one person's name down. Or all of them, if you will. But write one name down, and then I'll ask you, what do you know about them when we finish the talk? I only have a little bit left. Okay? And I'm going to bring this slide perhaps back in just a moment. Yeah, we have plenty of time. I have a lot of time for you, as long as you need to. So what I will say about this is that each and every person here has made a contribution to the world, has had a unique transformational journey. And there is a lot to learn from these people. And that's where the role models and coaches come in. When I ask students, who is your role model? You know what they say, usually, generally, they will say my mom, my dad, my brother, which is great. Our parents are amazing. But if that's the role model, guess what? That's all we can achieve, right? So we need to look up to different people that have achieved things that we don't think is possible, right? Like these people. You know, if you do a search, I read every story to every one of these people. They're autobiography. I love autobiographies because I learn so much and I get so inspired, you know, and it reaffirms my goals. Yes, Val, you can do it. I mean, done it. And guess what? They've come from you know, backgrounds like myself. And that is like a disadvantage when you compare, right? Capitalism, communism, and socialism. Let's say developed world and undeveloping world. These people, if I look here, most of them are from undeveloping world, except Michael Jordan, you know, the American people that you can recognize here. So we'll come back to this slide and why role models who achieve excellence in life are the people you should look up to, not, you know, the people in your immediate environment. Because it tells you how they, whoa, look, what is that? So life is a marathon, right? Not a sprint. You heard that expression. What? So I went and ran a marathon. Not one, not two, but three. And look when I ran the last one, right? That's why I wanted to show the year there. Pandemic year. During the pandemic, right? The pandemic was really difficult for everybody. It transformed our lives. Depends how you look at it. In good ways, bad ways, both, right? Depends how you look at it. Well, I used that opportunity to pivot and I trained for a marathon in 2020, 2021. And that's how I managed the pandemic, the ups and downs. I trained for a marathon and I ran 2 marathons back to back. One of your goals next year could be a 5K and then 10K and then a marathon. Who knows, right? Anything is possible. So achieving goals is like a marathon, which, by the way, after my marathon in 2007 was my first marathon, by the way, right? 2007 New York City Marathon, 2007. When I came back from the marathon, after a marathon, because it's not about marathons, it's about who you become during that time, right? It's not about running a race. It's about who you become in the process. It takes about 7 months to train for a marathon. Who you become. And this is just an example. You can take, writing a book or hiking Everest, or like a big challenge that's going to transform you, and you are going to figure out who you really are. And in the process, you become invincible. You become disciplined. You become resilient. So when you have other challenges and setbacks, yes, it's going to be, challenging, but it's nothing you didn't do, right? When you see that, oh, I did that before, so that's fine. I'm going to do it again. So when I came back from 2007 New York, guess what I did? I went back to school to earn a doctoral degree. That's right. I'm like, okay, the person in my family, let me have a legacy here. Let me do something with this so people will remember Val when I'm no longer here. And that's what I plan to do every day. Okay, measure and keep track of your progress, right? So we are still on your future self. You need to measure your progress. If you don't measure, you won't improve. You need the data, and you need a calendar of your activities. Like my friends say, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done, right? So you need to put it on the calendar to get the things done. But again, don't put everything on calendar just because you want to see that calendar full of activities. You need to be clear that the activities on your calendar are supporting your life's goals. That's all you need on the calendar. Okay? Wait, I had a 10. Right there. Remove everything not supporting your growth and success. This is so important. I want you to really, really take the time to understand who are the people in your life and what kind of role they serve for you. Every person. Who are your friends? Probably you can have more than 5, because real friends takes time to develop. So I'm talking about real friends, okay? And then the next circle of friends. Who are these people and what do they do to you? Environment, clutter. Do you live in an environment that is supporting your success, makes you creative every day? It's healthy. You feel good about it. You have incense all around like I do. Right? Or some candles burning, so that it creates the environment when you feel good and creative and healthy and taken care of. If not, then clean it up. That's just part of being disciplined and part of being successful. You don't want any obstacles on your way. You want to have the energy flowing, positive energy flowing in your whole house or room. Thoughts. Are you negative mostly or positive mostly, or half and half? Well, you need to have a conversation with yourself, okay? If you are negative, then you need to understand why. Because the brain needs to be trained to be positive as opposed to negative. We know that we cannot control the events outside of our control. We cannot control what happens to us, but we can control what? How we react to what happens to us. And for that, you need to train your brain to respond to your command. Otherwise, it's going to just jump in. And next thing you know, you are angry and you have an argument. And that's it. We can't do that. Why? Because we can do better. We have strategies in place that we can do better. Beliefs. Do you have old beliefs, perhaps, that you're carrying from your socialization, from growing up as a child, that you carry them to today, that is telling you, that voice in your head, oh, you can't do this. Don't do that. Oh, that's dangerous. Oh, be careful. Yeah? Were you raised like that? Be careful. Take care. Did you get home safely? I'm going to call you when you get home. Did you get home? Right? Well, when we are socialized like that, then we really need people to, check on us because we don't trust ourselves. We don't take big risks, right? Our confidence. We need to build our confidence. How do we build our confidence? By taking risks. And how do we grow? By failing. Although in my philosophy, there are no failures, only lessons of growth. So if you fail going forward, I want you to take that failure word out of your vocabulary. Okay? And every time things are not going your way, pause and think, oh, that's a live lesson right here, right now. What I am going to do with it. You can transform it in a story. So you can have stories to tell people, right? Like, for example, when you drive, if you are caught in traffic, most people do what? They get angry and they raise your blood pressure, their blood pressure, right? And anxiety level and stress level. Why? Why? You can't control traffic, right? But you know what? It's easier said than done. Unless you meditate consistently, right? And you train your brain to be intentional about how you respond to this event, they won't happen. So next time you are caught in traffic, remember this moment, okay? Tell yourself, oh, I'm caught in traffic. How can I use this time? I'm so grateful to be here, right? I'm safe, I'm in my car. Yes? How can I use this time productively? Perhaps you're gonna listen to a TED Talk. Maybe you're gonna listen to this talk, right? Or yeah, so you see, you can reframe. In Stoicism, as a more modern Stoic myself, we call that negative visualization or reframing. Think about, a picture, a piece of art. If you put an ugly frame around it, it's still a beautiful art. You need to frame your mind, train your brain to reframe situations, okay? And you can transform them in stories. You can tell people when you get home, guess what happened to me today, right? I was caught in traffic and I listened to this TED Talk and I learned 3 things. Number 1, 2, and 3. I'm so grateful for having that traffic today. Boom. And you save your heart, you save your stress level, and perhaps you gave yourself another year in your longevity span. Okay? So, and my friends, self-discipline is the path to freedom and happiness. There's no question about it. And these are some of the things we talked about today as a recap. Okay? Because, as an academic for over 15 years, I always want my guests, my learners, my students to understand and be part of the learning process, because what I'm doing is for you. If you are not understanding, then we are wasting our time, right? So it's important for me that you are taking value from tonight's talk, that you have aha moments, that it's transformational really. That's my goal. And hopefully you tell me if we achieve it together. So this is values, you have a purpose, why? Meaningful goals. You want to balance your wheel. No distractions. Tomorrow, take everything out that is not serving your purpose, your vision, best self, decision and choices. Next time you make a choice, think. Remember me, remember this talk. think, is this an intentional choice? Is this a conscious choice? Because we have two kinds, right? Conscious and unconscious. You need to pause and say, is this a conscious choice? Is this choice that I'm about to make going to help me move forward? Okay. Decision choices, consistency. Obviously, if you work on your habits, you are going to become disciplined and you are going to be consistent. You say, you do what you say, you follow through, you figure this out. Daily habits. It takes time to form a positive, healthy habit. Some people say 21 days, 60 days. It's more like 60, 90 days. Okay. But once you get there, let me tell you, that's why my courses, for example, this one is 4 weeks, but the next one that begins in January, it's 8 weeks. And it begins in January for a reason. It's intentional. Why? Because most people want to be healthier. They don't know how? Well, I'll show you how. So then you can have that goal for as long as you live. You don't need to worry about resolutions. Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. You need to prioritize your priorities. Measure results and celebrate every small and big achievement. And this is very important, this last point. And I want to emphasize. Why? Because that's how you build momentum. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build courage. You need to acknowledge your efforts and your progress. And you can celebrate that with yourself. I celebrate myself every day. Obviously, I am sharing with you the formula for building your best self. If that's what you want, there you have it. And I'm here for you.
Thank you so much for attending this event tonight. And I wish you the best of luck in the new year. And please reach out if you need my help. Thank you.